A pleasant good morning to you. It is Monday, December the 20th. I'm Shane Seeley, and this is the CBC Morning Report. Now, the Fair Trading Commission is cracking down on businesses taking advantage of consumers through their online retail platforms. While the relevant legislation does not totally protect local consumers from overseas-based online retailers, Director of the Consumer Protection Division of the FTC, David Leslie Ward, says locally web-based retailers are definitely covered. She says the FTC can and will take action on behalf of consumers.
The legislation applies equally to online businesses once those businesses are based in Barbados, as it would in a traditional brick and mortar store. So once you have a business registered in Barbados, once you're operating in Barbados, the legislation applies in much the same way.
This news comes as the FTC's Consumer Protection Division has published a retail business guide for consumers and businesses, and it's now available on their website. And it's very timely with today's VAT-free day, where Barbadians will effectively be able to purchase items normally covered by value-added tax at a 17.5% discount. Meanwhile, the FTC is warning businesses about using fake reviews to convince consumers to purchase their products and services. The director is also advising Barbadians not to give reviews which are not authentic.
Don't get your family members to go and post 10 reviews that are not authentic. So we're just encouraging people. And so this is not necessarily within the legislation, but these are just some tips, additional tips for businesses to follow. Make sure that if you are putting like let's say reviews on your website, make sure that they're authentic. Make sure that there were actual consumers who wrote those or who gave feedback on your business, because it is very, very critical to do so. You don't want people to be convinced by these things and then find out later on it was not actually a consumer, but it was the business who created these things. So these are some of the tips that we would have included in the guide, because something like posting something that is false, a false review, that can be captured under our general prohibition against misleading or deceiving consumers under the CPA.
The FTC is also putting businesses on notice about unfair contract terms and advertising specials in big and bold, while relative conditions follow in fine print.
For example, clauses where they use a lot of legalese. I know that we tend to, when we see documents that say the where to hearing before, we really feel as though this has to be an official document because it sounds as though a lawyer has vetted it, but we want to make sure that the contract terms are actually in very user-friendly language. It must be plain, it should be simple and very easy to understand. There's a lot of fine print. We want to avoid that. That should not be included, especially where that fine print, the consumer can't see it, so they can't read it and understand it. They don't understand what it means. And as a result of the fine print, the offer that has been made in the big, bold, beautiful print is actually significantly morphed. So instead of an offer that's offering a free this or a free that or an extra this or an extra that, it then in the fine print tells you in order to get this extra gift, you have to jump through all of these hoops. So we want to avoid that.
And for more information on the Commission's concerns, you can check out the FTC's Retail Business Guide on their website, www.ftc.gov.bb. We'll take a break here, but when we come back, no deaths reported and cases are down as we look at the latest COVID-19 updates. A total of 49 new COVID-19 cases, 25 males and 24 females, were reported on Saturday from the 1,040 tests conducted by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. The new positives comprise 10 individuals who are under the age of 18. There were 178 people in isolation facilities on the last check and 1,131 people in home isolation. There were no deaths recorded, so that number remains at 256. Meanwhile, under the National Vaccination Program for COVID-19, the total number of persons with at least one dose is now 155,192, while the total number of those fully vaccinated stands at 141,900 people. Over in the U.S. now, the President Joe Biden is expected to announce new measures tomorrow that are aimed at tackling the new Omicron variant of COVID-19. His announcement will come amidst rising COVID-19 numbers in this Christmas traveling season.
As Americans prepare for the busiest travel season of the year, states including Connecticut and Michigan are seeing surges in hospital admissions. The Centers for Disease Control also says Omicron is on the verge of becoming the dominant variant in New York City. Let's go live now to Kristen Salumi, who is in New York for us. So, Kristen, just how bad is it there right now?
Well, people are really worried and reconsidering their holiday plans after 2 days of new infections topping records over the last year. Now, 22,000 people were found tested positive on Saturday. That's higher than during the peak of winter last year. Hospitalizations nationwide are up 50%, not anywhere near the peak last year. But Dr. Anthony Fauci, the infectious disease specialist, is warning that hospitals could start feeling the strain because even if this Omicron variant is less deadly than Delta, it is so contagious and moving so rapidly through the population that could put a strain on hospitals. And we're already seeing that happening, particularly in areas of the country and of the state of New York where vaccination rates are lower. So people here are reconsidering their plans and wondering if it's safe to travel. Fauci has advised that travel does increase your risk of catching the disease, but he says you should be safe if you're vaccinated and you take precautions. And officials right now are focusing on getting people vaccinated, encouraging people to get vaccinated and boosted. No major lockdowns have been announced yet. Officials are trying to avoid that, given the toll it's taken on businesses and on schools and students in particular. But people are worried and people are watching. And a lot of private companies and holiday parties and things we're seeing are getting canceled already.
And presumably they'll be keeping a close eye on the New Year's, on the possibility of whether there's those famous New Year celebrations that happen in New York every New Year's Eve, whether that might now be in danger.
Right. Well, that's one thing people are worrying about. Is it safe to have all these people in a big crowd gathered in New York's Times Square to watch the ball drop? Normal times, there'd be thousands of people close together for hours and hours. Of course, it is outside. And right now, it's scheduled to go on. People have to have a vaccination in order to attend. But the mayor has said they're keeping an eye on things, and nothing is certain at this point. We've had Broadway shows shut down in the last couple of days. The Rockettes, the famous Christmas show, had to close, and that's because of breakthrough infections in the production staffs there. They can't reopen. And these are people who've been vaccinated but have infections. So with that as the backdrop, nothing is certain going forward.
Over in Europe, shopping streets in the Netherlands have been closed down and people's Christmas plans are now in disarray as the country began a lockdown aimed at limiting an unexpected COVID-19 surge. Prime Minister Mark Rutte has ordered the closure of all but the most essential stores as well as restaurants there, hairdressers, gyms, museums and other public places from yesterday until at least January the 14th. The announcement comes as Europe tries to rein in the rising number of infections linked to the highly mutated Omicron strain of the COVID-19 variant.
Against mandatory vaccinations and vaccine passports, thousands gathered in Belgium to express their anger at restrictions. It comes as the government issued strong advice to get vaccinated and gave health workers 3 months to get vaccinated or risk losing their jobs. Britain has seen some of its highest levels in new cases of the virus. Wembley Football Stadium was turned into a mass booster vaccination centre as the government tries to curb the outbreak. But for now, its reluctance to impose a pre-Christmas lockdown is at odds with the Mayor of London.
If we don't bring in new restrictions sooner rather than later, you're going to see even more positive cases and potentially public services like the NHS on the verge of collapse, if not collapsing.
Germany has added the UK to its high-risk countries, meaning tighter travel restrictions. France has already banned travel from Britain other than compelling reasons, which do not include tourism and business. It comes as Europe braces itself for the spread of the Omicron variant, and many countries are now considering a return of restrictions over the Christmas period. These streets in the Netherlands should have been packed with Christmas shoppers, but all non-essential businesses have been ordered to close after a strict lockdown was imposed. Even on the northern tip of Europe, Finland, where the Christmas period brings with it tourists, there's now real concern.
I've never had times like this before. Like I know my colleagues, they are wondering the same. This is like a puzzle. Every day you start back again and you look at the latest updates and news and you start wondering what's happening with the travelers, what's happening with the tourism workers and the companies. How do we survive?
As Christmas fast approaches, the shadow cast by the COVID virus seems to be getting ever longer.
Well, Pearson, it feels like we're going backward again, yet into other lockdowns across the world. Of course, here in Barbados, we're forging ahead. And of course, we're forging ahead with you in a few minutes on the Monday edition of Mornin Barbados. What do you have for us?
Well, good morning, Shane, and good morning, everyone. You're so right. Sometimes it feels as though we're stepping back and not yet enough forward motion. But today we hope to bring things up because come January the 1st, there will be a prohibition on the importation of inefficient light bulbs. Yes, what does that mean? Who is impacted by it and what does it mean for us, the simple consumer? We'll talk to the member of the Ministry of Energy a little later on about that. Also, just on Friday, Unicef launched its My Child Helpline app. That app in the hands of children is supposed to do what? We'll talk to the Caribbean area representative, Dr. Alois Camaraguille. He will join us to look more into that app and what they're hoping to achieve by its use. And the conversation on CARICOM continues today as the Prime Minister joins the call on the need for reparations. She had recently addressed the United Nations. We'll take a look at her speech and what it means for us going forward as a region. Just a little bit of what you can expect when you join me at 6:30. Back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Pearson. And right here on the Morning Report, you'll get to hear more details about this VAT-free day. People are getting ready to go shopping. More details up next. It's shaping up to be the biggest shopping day of the year. I mean, today, this VAT-free day. Meanwhile, we hear that the minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn, he's saying that the Barbados Revenue Authority has signaled its readiness to administer the VAT filings associated with today's VAT-free day. He added that they had dialogue with stakeholders and issued a guidance notice which outlines the requirements for retailers. It also provides a description of goods that will ascribe a VAT rate of 0% and indicates the filing and reporting obligations for companies and businesses that may be affected by the temporary change. The minister also says some retailers have noted that they will have to use a discount system to achieve the 0 rating for the day, and this will be accommodated. Meanwhile, as shoppers take advantage of this VAT-free day when stores open within a few hours' time, they may not see all the items that they need. According to President of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Anthony Branker, because they could not restock from warehouses over the weekend and people shopped on Saturday and yesterday as well, there may be some goods lacking there.
Any shortages on the shelves will obviously be created, but because supermarkets were informed of this VAT-free day on Saturday evening, majority of the distributors are closed Sunday, and because of the volumes that will descend on stores tomorrow, Monday, you can anticipate that many stores will not be able to replenish the shelves at the rate that persons will be taking the product off of the shelves. So it is not a situation where stores or distributors will be out of stock, but replenishment may be challenged.
And Mr. Branker says while they will go along with today, they intend to call for dialogue for future initiatives like this one.
Well, we exist within a tripartite arrangement called a social partnership. And we're going to do our best to ensure that there is a partnership where you can place your confidence in your partners. So between the BPSA and the Chamber of Commerce, we will indeed be meeting at the soonest possible convenience with the persons involved in this decision to highlight that this certainly was not the way to operate within a partnership.
In other news, the introduction of road tennis to Dubai has borne some fruit, and 2 participants in the Expo Dubai Road Tennis Tournament have won trips to Barbados. According to Invest Barbados, Road Tennis Week served to bring additional focus to Barbados' presence at the Expo, with the week being well publicized. The Chief Executive Officer, Kay Greenidge, told the Morning Report the interest was high and participation levels were very encouraging.
Road Tennis Week served to bring additional focus to Barbados' presence at the Expo. The week was well publicized, with road tennis recognized as being indigenous to Barbados. Interest was high and participation levels was encouraging. The addition of the sport added to the Expo's 6-month agenda and helped showcase aspects of Barbados beyond trade and investment. Understand that while Invest Barbados is charged with managing Barbados' outreach at the Expo, the mandate is to showcase all aspects of the participating country, therefore going beyond trade and investment to include our sports, culture, art, and culinary offerings.
Today, the team assigned to the Barbados Pavilion at the Expo has welcomed over 25,000 visitors per month. The 6-month Expo started in October and runs through to the end of March 2022. In-person business outreaches are scheduled to take place next year, while virtual outreaches have begun. The winners, Christopher Nichols and Emma Hoang from Belgium and Luxembourg respectively, have both won a trip to Barbados, including airfare, 7 nights accommodation, airport transfers, and an island tour. British Airways, the Barbados Tourism Marketing Incorporated, Coral Mist, and Sweetfield Manor partnered with Invest Barbados to make the attractive prizes possible. The National Sports Council, the Barbados Road Tennis Association, the Professional Road Tennis Association and clubs, as well as representatives of Invest Barbados and other state agencies, coordinated and managed the week's rollout. The winners accepted their prizes from Adrian Donovan, the senior coach at the National Sports Council. Over in Guyana, Permanent Secretary Sharon Hicks has been charged by the police for accepting a bribe. We hear more in this report.
2 days after police at CID received advice from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution to charge Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs Sharon Hicks The embattled PS appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Court, charged with one count of corrupt transaction by an agent of the state. PS Hicks appeared before Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan on Friday. The charge alleged that on October 7, 2021, at the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs located at 251-252 Thomas and Quamina Street, Georgetown, while being an agent of the state employed by the government of Guyana, she obtained from her Mani Chintami, for herself, $200,000 as an inducement or reward for processing the payment requests for security services provided. The embattled permanent secretary pleaded not guilty to the charge, and the magistrate had no objection to a bail application by her attorney Sisgan Raj. Hicks was then released on a $100,000 bail, and the matter adjourned until December 20 for statements.
Despite a shortage of affordable housing in Nigeria for 24 million prospective homeowners, that country's property developers are more focusing on smart homes for the middle class.
10 kilometers from the city center, Nigeria's first smart home estate is opened. This fully automated house is where the Reckitt's return to at the end of each day's work at an investment firm in the capital. The couple say the smart home technology works perfectly for the life they lead.
There's that convenience of not having to manually do things. You can program them, as you want it to be, whatever suits your lifestyle.
The sport of boxing, along with weightlifting and modern pentathlon, have been dropped from the Olympic roster for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. In fact, the 2024 Paris Games aren't even secured if changes aren't made by the International Boxing Association as far as the governance, finances, refereeing and judging are concerned. But what does this mean for the sport here? Our Anne-Marie Burke tells us more.
The news that boxing has been dropped from the roster for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics is disappointing, as many of our local boxers had set their sights on representing the country at those games. One of the world's oldest Olympic sports has been in turmoil for some time due to bad governance, unfair gameplay and judging, and some lack of financial transparency from the world governing body IBA. Speaking to CBC Sports on the backdrop of the decision taken by the International Olympic Committee, President of the Barbados Boxing Association, Melissa Branford-Jones, said they will now focus on making the best of the opportunity they have at the 2024 Paris Games.
Ever since that news, we have had athletes calling, sending messages on our social media asking why this has happened, what's going to happen now. So there's a sense of unsurety and a little bit of panic, especially on the side of our athletes. We're grateful that the BOA has assured us so far that funding will continue to help us prepare our athletes for the 2024 Games. But from the internal perspective, the Barbados Boxing Association has had to decide that we need to make a big effort to kind of change things around. Our game plan has to change quite significantly, because if 2024 is going to be the last Olympics, that opportunity that we have means that we need to start preparing or trying to prepare other athletes that might get a chance to attend. We don't have 2028 put down.
The decision not only impacts the athletes directly, but also the other stakeholders who are invested in the sport.
It's not just the boxers, it really is about those who would have been supporting boxing before, because it's not just the boxers who are looking at Olympics, one of the biggest sporting events ever on the sports calendar. It's also going to be people like the sponsors, those who donate, those who help push athletes towards these games. How are they going to be seeing boxing now? So, there's a lot of intricate areas that I'm sure people have not really looked at as yet. But as we go into the discussions and the brainstorming on how this is going to affect our functioning, I'm sure that aspects such as that are really going to come out, and we're going to see how this really could affect our functioning.
But for now, the aim of the Barbados Boxing Association is to maintain high standards among their membership, as well as to ensure that all boxers are given the best opportunities available.
The focus really is on the athletes because, again, so many of them, even the ones who may not have been planning for the 2024 Olympics, you know, they are truly in a panic because, as you know, one of the biggest things for an athlete is to be an Olympian. That is one of the major achievements. And so our youngest boxers are already saying, I'm going to be in the 2028 Olympics. And so that hope has been dashed, you know, to the side. And, you know, we really, really want to keep our boxers. We don't want them to switch sports because of this. And so it's going to be a lot of internal planning and movement. So it should be a very interesting next few weeks to months.
Anne-Marie Burke, CBC Sports.
And Australia have taken a 2-0 lead in the Ashes after winning the latest test match by a whopping, and let's get that result for you, 275 runs. The scores in the match against England: Australia 473 for 9 declared and 230 for 9 declared. England 236 and 192. So they're up 2-0 in the series. The player of the match was Marnus Labuschagne for his first innings century. We'll continue to give you updates on this and other sporting news in our sports news at midday, in our midday package. Let's take a look at the weather now. The temperature is registering 25.2 degrees Celsius. It's cloudy and slightly hazy on the outside. It's feeling a bit warmer. The apparent temperature is up to 28 degrees Celsius right now, and the relative humidity stands at 78%. That barometric pressure is 1012.4 millibars, and those winds are coming out of the east at 26 kilometers per hour. We will get a low tide this morning at 5 minutes to 10. The high tide will be at 8 minutes after 4 in the afternoon. Those seas are still moderate to rough in open water as we start the week. Swells are around the 3-meter mark, but they will decrease. Today will be partly sunny with a few brief isolated light showers. And tonight it will be partly cloudy with a few brief scattered light showers. And here's a quick look at the international weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of the CBC Morning Report. I'm Shane Seeley. I'll see you at midday. Up next, Pearson Boyne with Mornin Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning, Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
And a very good morning to you indeed, and welcome to today, Monday the 20th of December. Within 2 blinks, it will be December the 25th. So we're 5 days away, and for those of you keeping track, you have little to no time. But very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Pearson Bowen. For those of you watching us here in Barbados, as always, thank you so much for waking up with us in the morning and across the globe as well on our YouTube channel or our Facebook streams. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Now, don't forget, as we are just 5 days away, we still have our Christmas competition going on. Today, we'll give you 2 chances to answer your phone correctly. Let me put that out up front so you know what to do. So have your phones charged, make sure you have adequate credit on it, and most of all, stand by your phone to answer when we call, when you hear it ring. So answer it correctly, and you're winners today as we lead up to December the 25th. This morning, you'll meet a young woman who has her own company now, but she has just been commissioned in the United States to do some significant artwork. And it means the whole world to her, and it means the whole world to us. So we'll get to meet her this morning to share in her joy and her glory as well as she basks in that. We'll continue our conversations on CARICOM, looking at reparations and a whole lot more straight ahead. But let's get started by looking at the continuing work of the Ministry of Energy, Small Business and Entrepreneurship, because January the 1st marks when the prohibition on the importation of inefficient light bulbs starts. And so we are meeting this morning with the Acting Project Director, Delano Canterbury. Delano, good morning to you.
Good morning, Pearson, and good morning to viewers. Season's greetings, and thanks for having me.
Likewise, thank you. You're very welcome. What are, first of all, inefficient light bulbs, and what does this prohibition mean for the average consumer?
Well, inefficient light bulbs are really bulbs that utilize, when they utilize the energy, they waste a significant amount of it by generating energy. By generating heat. So the Control of Inefficient Lighting Act 2021 was passed in July of this year and has been developed to provide for the phased elimination of the importation, sale, and manufacture of inefficient electrical lamps in Barbados. And on January 1st, 2022, the first phase will commence, as you rightly said. And this prohibition will be on the import of any electrical lamp which emits less than 15 lumens per watt. The phase-out process is an integral element of the Barbados National Energy Policy and is focused on reducing the cost of energy in Barbados while increasing energy security and mitigating the negative effects of energy consumption on the local and global environments. We expect that the energy-efficient lighting could represent about a third of potential savings of electricity for residential, commercial, and public customers.
Now, I'll tell you, when I buy any lighting fixture at all, I'm not saying no measuring. This isn't that kind of way. So what's my experience when those are then prohibited, and what then do I replace them with?
Well, what we'll be looking at is there's a measure of brightness, which is the lumens, and the app looks at the lumens per watt. So the lumens is a measure of the total light output or the brightness of the light source. On the other side, the watts indicate the amount of energy a bulb utilizes when in use. Therefore, the most efficient lights are those that can produce a desired level of brightness utilizing less energy, which is measured in the lumens per watt. So when you go to purchase, all you want to do is to look at the total amount of lumens and divide it by the wattage. And that will tell you if it's above 15 or less. And at that stage, you would know not to purchase. Well, not that you can't purchase it, because the prohibition right now is on the importation. But when the 1st of July 2022 rolls around, the prohibition would extend to the sale, the manufacture of those products.
So for the importer, you have between January and July, literally, to get that excess stock off, because as of July, you will no longer be expected to put for sale those items that are beyond the 15. Now, I have to do the mathematics. So you're saying to me, look at the wattage, look at the luminous, and then make my division and see what it comes to. I can see Miss Jones, who works at the corner shop, say, I ain't doing that. Just tell me, I go for a 60-watt bulb or 45-watt bulb, and I should be within the range. Can it be as simple as that?
Well, what would happen for the consumer? The consumer will not necessarily have to make those decisions, because once we have attacked it from the supply side, then only efficient bulbs will be for sale. So the policing of it would be key in regard to ensuring that what is imported and what is for sale will be within the confines of the act.
It does not mean any major retrofitting necessarily at the moment. It just means that the next time around, you will be only purchasing those that fall within the law. Now, what does it mean in terms of cost savings for the individual?
Well, the cost savings, we believe, will be significant once you're transitioning from an inefficient to efficient. And we believe that at least a third of the electricity costs would be saved in regard to these more efficient light bulbs.
Solar. You know, there's a lot of talk about renewable energy and solar. Is that also a part of this initiative?
Well, not this initiative specifically, but in regard to the Barbados National Energy Policy, the movement to renewable energies is key, and solar is one of the energy sources that we're looking at, as well as wind, biomass, and ocean energy. So we will be looking to transition, and we are creating the enabling environment that would assist those persons who want to invest within those areas to help us to achieve our 100% fossil fuel free Barbados by 2030.
So for anyone watching this morning who is saying, well, why are we doing this in the first place? Why are we bothering to swap out the light bulbs and what we use? Why are we bothering at all? What do you say?
Well, the thing is that the world is now more environmentally conscious, and Barbados wants to be an example in regard to this. So one of the areas, obviously, is moving to renewable energies, technologies, but also we need to look at our demand for electricity, because the less we require in electricity means the less fossil fuels we burn, and the less our carbon footprint would be.
Is there an impact on cost in any way, and to the consumer, that is, that should we purchase going forward any one of these switched up far more efficient lighting fixtures, that it should redound to our benefit?
We don't believe so, because switching to efficient light bulbs can help individuals save money on their electricity bill. For example, if you replace the 100 incandescent bulbs with more energy efficient LEDs or light emitting diode, this could mean a saving of almost $7,000 per year. And you can redeem your investment or recover your investment in slightly over 2 months. So the issue is that you can, in the medium term, enjoy savings from putting in the efficient light bulbs.
So to the home consumer, to the businessman, small or large, it is a good deal. It's a good way to go.
It is a good win-win.
Yeah, it really is. It sounds that way to me indeed. But from January the 1st, for the importer, how does he transition now? Because he may have had orders ahead of January the 1st. What happens to him?
Well, we would have been consulting extensively with the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry and like-minded individuals to indicate to them what was going to happen. They were a part of the process of developing the bill, and now we have the act. So we believe that it should be minimal, and that even now we see in the marketplace a significant amount of efficient lighting. So I think most persons have started this process, but we've now concretized it by having the act, so that we can ensure that the market will only be supplying efficient lights from between this period and when we end, which would be the first day of January 2024.
I'll give you a chance to remind people why this is of benefit to them. So explain it once again for everyone so they understand what this will mean from January the 1st and then July as well, for the consumer and for the business person. What's in it for them?
Well, for the consumer and the business person, what we will see is that persons will be utilizing more efficient lighting, and it will bring down your electricity bill. It will also add to your social impact in terms of the environment. We will now becoming more environmentally friendly, and it would just be the way of the future. It is the way to go.
It is the way to go. So for anyone watching who wants to know more on this, where can we go to read up a whole lot more so we are far more abreast of how it impacts us? Where can we go?
Well, you can go to our website, which is www.smartenergybarbados.com, and there you will see a host of information in regard to the act, but not just the act. You can also see what we're doing with respect to the Barbados National Energy Policy and all of the activities there in regard to the transition. And I would like to say to viewers that it is important that we all play our part, as achieving this goal will be a significant investment.
After all, we've been talking a lot about energy saving and being far more climate aware, and certainly this is one way we can add to that as well, or footprint to it as well. So go to smartenergybarbados.com, smartenergybarbados.com, one big long word, smartenergybarbados.com, and you can click and read a whole lot more and see for yourself the ways in which you can benefit significantly by using far more efficient lighting in your properties going forward. The prohibition for importers starts January the 1st, and you have that grace period until July to get it all ready to release your stock, because of July thereafter we're all expected to be consuming only those efficient lighting fixtures. Thank you so much, Delano Canterbury, for joining us this morning, Acting Project Director with the Project Monitoring and Coordination Team in the Ministry of Energy, Small Business and Entrepreneurship. Do you ever have to say that?
Yes, all the time.
It's a mouthful indeed. But congratulations indeed on this effort, and best of luck with the project. Thank you so much, sir.
And thank you very much, and good day.
You're very welcome, and likewise. We'll take that break right here, and Morning Barbados continues right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
My Child Helpline app. Download today. We know the times are hard. You might feel bored, stressed, or helpless. But don't you worry now. Support on the app is endless. So get connected. Everyone's protected. Write down your feelings. You can download this evening. The app is secure. The calls are free. It's in the palm of your hands. Alleviate your stress here. My Child Helpline app. Good mental health is important. My Child Helpline app. Guidance for parents and children. My Child Helpline app. Direct access to trained pros. My Child Helpline app. Free at Google Play or the App Store.
Come on.
Download the app now. Download the app now.
My Child Helpline app. Powered by Unicef. Safe, secure, confidential. Direct access to mental health and psychosocial support. Parents and guardians, let's join together. My Child Helpline app. Download today. It's absolutely free. Get it in the palm of your hands.
Now that's what we're talking about today, right now, as a matter of fact. My Child Helpline app, which was launched just Friday gone, and joining us to talk a little bit more about that and its initiative within the Eastern Caribbean is the representative for UNICEF in the Eastern Caribbean area, Dr. Alois Camaraguille. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Welcome to Morning Barbados. We are 5 days away from Christmas. Are you looking forward to that big day?
Definitely.
I can hear the excitement in your voice alone. So let's talk a little bit about the My Child Helpline app. Now, Friday would have been for you a very significant day because now you're putting in the palms of the hands of the children and adults as well an opportunity for something. So what is it that you're hoping to achieve by this initiative, My Child Helpline app?
Yeah, you know what? We have been facing over the 20 last months a serious issue in terms of increasing demand of access to a remote service for children and even their caregivers, parents, families who were experiencing mental health and psychosocial support needs due to the pandemic, which led to heavy restrictions, downloads, closures of schools, of social services. It was difficult to access face-to-face social services. And then we had this idea of using technology to innovate in order to facilitate access to services, to free tele counseling services, child protection services, connect the users to national hotline, helpline, emergency numbers, and also, to allow children who were feeling lonely to access some games. So what we want really to achieve is to improve the well-being of children and their parents, the caregivers, because they are impacted, affected by the pandemic. So it's about really contributing to improving the well-being of children. And of course, we're gonna extend this service to other ministries like health, education. But we just launched with those institutions in charge of child protection.
Now, I know oftentimes when we are faced with crises, us, the adults, we busy ourselves trying to ready everything to get back to where we want it to be. But then we lose sight of the fact that children are also impacted by this, and we take our eyes off what they're going through. This app allows the child to say, hello, I'm here, I'm struggling in this kind of way. We've been facing for a while now, over 20 months, we've been facing this pandemic and having to reconstruct the way we live, and we have not taken enough time to really look at how children are reaching out to be reconstructed too. And so through this app, you're trying to gather this information, but to provide an avenue for those children to connect with those who can assist and to hear them. So how do you see it working so that they get real benefit by using and by downloading first and using the app?
Yes, of course we have support services. Our partners, for instance, in the case of Barbados, it's the Child Care Board and many others in Barbados across the region. So we're gonna ensure that we do some capacity building to ensure that we maximize the utilization. Of course, the users need to know how best to use it to get the most from this app. So that it has a capacity building component, this project. And what we are looking for is to have the maximum number of users, children, caretakers, the parents, because that will contribute to helping them to recover from the pandemic. You know, the pandemic, the impact, it's not only the economy or the learning. You have this child protection, the well-being component.
What do you see to be of greatest concern to you and Unicef if we don't do this?
You know, the COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated what Unicef we call the child crisis. In several areas I mentioned, for instance, the learning is a disaster, and then here we talk about child protection. Child protection is documented across all over, across region. the world. Children have been facing abuse, has been facing violence, neglect, exploitation. So it has to do with that. It's a serious issue of well-being of children, and how can we, as nations, societies, expect the children to develop their full potential if we don't care about their protection? It's critical.
This app you've now rolled out in about 4 different territories of the region, Eastern Caribbean. It's now available in Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Grenada, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So thus far, the My Child Helpline app that's available, go download it from your app stores. It's absolutely free. What has been the response? You only just launched it, I know, so it's too soon to ask what's been the response. But why those areas, and where else will you be hoping in the short term to be able to launch it?
Actually, we started to pilot it back last year, 2020, using it in Trinidad and Tobago. But initially, the idea was to assist the Venezuelan migrants in Trinidad and Tobago. You know that we have thousands of them there, children on the move. And of course, we could see that they were struggling to access social services, including child protection services, mental health, psychosocial support, and so forth. And then we saw really the potential of the app, and we expanded it in Trinidad and Tobago, and then it was launched October 2020 last year. And of course, we learned and improved it. So as you mentioned, last week we launched in those 4 countries you mentioned. But the idea is also next year to expand it to 7 more countries and territories under our remit, beyond Barbados, Grenada, St. Vincent, Grenadine, and Barbuda. So we're going to cover all the Eastern Caribbean till Turks and Caicos Islands, 12 countries and territories under the Eastern Caribbean Area Office.
You are the UNICEF representative for the Eastern Caribbean area. That's a lot that you have responsibility for. And while we are in many ways similar, there are some things about which we are different. When you assess what's been happening with our children and their needs, what's different in each territory?
You know, I would say that in terms of issues, they are similar. For instance, let's talk about the huge issue of learning. It has been a disaster. It's a learning crisis. Children have been struggling. Don't take it granted. Some parents, of course, could have afford to cope with the pandemic, to allow to their children online learning because they have the devices, the connectivity, the parents are skilled to support children they are learning from home. But you know, others you out there cannot for several reasons because they don't have the capacity. So learning crisis, I would say that's all over across the Caribbean. And then as we are talking about child well-being, child protection, again here we have seen deterioration of child protection in terms of violence, abuse, neglect, exploitation. But I would say the main difference, the difference, because those problems, those issues don't affect, of course, the countries with the same magnitude, because some countries have more capacity to manage those issues. They are better equipped. As we speak, for instance, let's talk about education, the learning.
Yes.
Some countries have still their schools closed. Children stay at home. Why? We know that's not the best way to go. We have plenty of evidence all over globally, and here that's not the best way to go. Children have to learn from classrooms, and countries have got to ensure that there is a conducive environment for children to go back to school, and it's possible because it's not at all much difficult to ensure that the school environment is safe for learning. You know the COVID-19 protocols, these public health measures. It's not a big deal to have them really available in all schools. For instance, as we speak, there are countries in the Eastern Caribbean where schools resumed. Children are back, and others and other countries they are still reflecting on whether or not they resume face-to-face learning. So I could say that the impact has been similar, but the way the countries are managing is different. Some countries are lagging behind in doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, this app now gives children voice. They give them a chance to be heard, and not only in being heard, but also to find someone who helps them to navigate through this quagmire in which we're all caught up. So it's called My Child Helpline. It's an app. It's available on your Google devices and all of your app stores. Download it. It's absolutely free. It is great assistance given to our young people and parents. Sometimes those of you who are struggling as well, if you need guidance, this app is one that you should have on your phone, and you can reach out at any time, anyhow, and you can get that assistance that you're looking for. Dr. Alois Kamugagie, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and I really hope that people really access this app and begin to access the help that they need. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
Likewise. You're very welcome. We're going to take that break here, and we're back with the news after.
My Child Helpline app. Download today. We know the times are hard. You might feel bored, stressed, or helpless. But don't you worry now. Support on the app is endless. So get connected. Everyone's protected. Write down your feelings. You can download this evening. The app is secure. The calls are free. It's in the palm of your hands. Alleviate your stress here. My Child Helpline app. Good morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We are a minute and a half after 7 o'clock. Let's get that update on the news. Now here is Shane Seeley.
Thank you, Pearson. Here's your 7 a.m. headline news update. With shoppers expected to be out in their numbers in just a few hours to take advantage of today's VAT-free day, the Fair Trading Commission has launched a new retail business guide to keep retailers in check. In this business guide, which is available on the FTC's website, the Commission also shares details on protecting consumers who have been using online retail platforms where some businesses have been trying to cash in during this COVID-19 pandemic. While the relevant legislation does not totally protect EU local consumers from overseas-based online retailers, Director of the Consumer Protection Division of the FTC, Dave Leslie Ward, says locally web-based retailers are definitely covered. She says the FTC can and will take action on behalf of consumers.
The legislation applies equally to online businesses once those businesses are based in Barbados, as it would in a traditional brick and mortar store. So once you have a business registered in Barbados, once you're operating in Barbados, the legislation applies in much the same way.
Meanwhile, the FTC is warning businesses about using fake reviews to convince consumers to purchase their products and services. The director is also advising Barbadians not to give reviews which are not authentic.
Don't get your family members to go and post 10 reviews that are not authentic. So we're just encouraging people. And so this is not necessarily with any legislation, but these are just some tips, additional tips for businesses to follow. Make sure that if you are putting, let's say, reviews on your website, make sure that they're authentic. Make sure that there were actual consumers who wrote those or who gave feedback on your business, because it is very, very critical to do so. You don't want people to be convinced by these things and then find out later on it was not actually a consumer, but it was the business who created these things. So these are some of the tips that we would have included in the guide, because something like posting something that is false, a false review, that can be captured under our general prohibition against misleading or deceiving consumers under the CPA.
And the FTC is putting businesses on notice about unfair contract terms and advertising specials in big and bold print, while the relative conditions follow in fine print. And for more information, you can check out the Commission's website, that's www.ftc.gov.bb, and see their retail business guide. Meanwhile, we hear that consumers may not be able to get all of the items they need on this VAT-free day, with stores opening their doors in under an hour's time. The president of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Anthony Branker, says many businesses were unable to restock from warehouses over the weekend. And with people shopping Saturday and into Sunday as well, there may be some goods which may not be on those shelves.
Any shortages on the shelves will obviously be created, but because supermarkets were informed of this VAT-free day on Saturday evening, majority of the distributors are closed Sunday. And because of the volumes that will descend on stores tomorrow, Monday, you can anticipate that many stores will not be able to replenish the shelves at the rate that persons will be taking the product off of the shelves. So it is not a situation where stores or distributors will be out of stock, but replenishment may be challenged.
Mr. Branker also says while they will go along with today, they intend to call for more dialogue for any similar future initiatives.
Well, we exist within a tripartite arrangement called a social partnership. And we're going to do our best to ensure that there is a partnership where you can place your confidence in your partners. So between the BPSA and the Chamber of Commerce, we will indeed be meeting at the soonest possible convenience with the persons involved in this decision to highlight that this certainly was not the way to operate within a partnership.
The Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn, says the Barbados Revenue Authority has signalled its readiness to administer the VAT filings associated with today's VAT-free day. He added that they had dialogue with stakeholders and issued a guidance note which outlines the requirements for retailers. It also provides a description of goods that will ascribe a VAT rate of 0% and indicates the filing and reporting obligations for companies and businesses that may be affected by the temporary change. It also provides, and Minister Strawn also says, some retailers have noted they will have to use a discount to achieve the 0 rating for the day, and this will be accommodated. Now looking at the local COVID-19 numbers, a total of 49 new COVID-19 cases, 25 males and 24 females were reported on Saturday from the 1,040 tests conducted by the Best Dos Santos Public Health Lab. The new positives comprise 10 individuals who are under the age of 18. There were 178 people in isolation facilities up to that time and 1,131 people in home isolation. There were no deaths recorded, so the number of deaths here in Barbados remains at 256. Meanwhile, under the National Vaccination Program for COVID-19, the total number of persons with at least one dose of a vaccine is 155,192, while the total number of those fully vaccinated stands at 141,900 people. And that's your 7 a.m. headline news update. I'm Shane Seeley. It's back to you, Pearson.
Thank you, Shane. Our time is 8 minutes after 7 o'clock. We are going to take a break here. We're back with our crumbs question of the day.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So it's 10.5 minutes now after 7 o'clock. Time for today's crumbs question of the day. That means you call me on 228-5562 or 228-5563. Why? Because it's Crumbs Bakery question of the day. Today's question: in a popular Square One Christmas soca song, what 3 things did they ask you to do at Christmas? Easy weasy Japanesey. In a popular Square One Christmas soca song, what 3 things did they ask you to do at Christmas? Do you think you know? 228-5562 or 228-5563. Answer it correctly and you win with our Crumbs Bakery, indeed, in our Crumbs Bakery question of the day. Do you have your cakes and pastries and breads, all of those ready yet for Christmas? Are you thinking of doing your own baking or allowing Crumbs to do the baking for you? Let's see if we have an answer right now. Good morning to you. Hello. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
All right, great. What's your first name?
Denisha.
Help me, production crew. Denisha.
Hello?
Denisha,
Yeah.
what part are you watching us from?
Christchurch.
Christchurch. Do you think you have an answer for me?
Can you repeat the question, please?
The question is on your screen. It says, in a popular Square One Christmas soca song, what 3 things did they ask you to do at Christmas? Do you know the answer? Hello? Focus
hello?
on me. Do you know the answer?
Yeah.
What's your answer?
Also, question, what three things did they ask you to do at Christmas?
Oh, you're repeating me. What is the answer? I'd say I don't know. I don't know. Pearson, I don't know. You don't know. But thank you for calling. You don't know. If you knew, you would have said it. So don't try to figure it out now while they're in your head. You just don't know. 228-5562 or 228-5563 been around long. So, in a popular Square One Christmas soca song, what three things did they ask you to do at Christmas? 228-5562 or 63. Good morning, hello.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Not too bad.
What's your first name, please?
Monica.
Say it again.
Monica.
Monica. Monica, what parish are you watching us from?
Christchurch.
Christchurch. Monica, I hope you know the answer, you know.
I tried.
You sound like a great cake woman, am I right?
Yeah.
I could tell, Monica, I could hear to your voice. Have you done your preparations for your great cake yet?
No, I don't really do that.
You're having somebody bring it to you.
No, I don't really integrate cake.
You make it a sport, girl. You make it a beer sport, Monica. What's your answer?
Right, I think it's eat, drink, and be merry.
Why do you think so, and why aren't you certain that it is so?
Well, because I think that's about Christmas when most people think about Christmas.
Why wasn't it to bring in Santa's sleigh or go shovel something and, you know? Do you know the song, by the way?
Huh?
Do you know the song?
I can't remember it, but I think that is part of it.
But sing that part that reminds you of that. Sing the part that makes you think it's that.
Eat, drink, and be merry. Something like that.
Come on, sing it for me, Monica, please.
I can't remember all of it.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, Monica. But anyhow, Monica from Christchurch, you're right. You're absolutely right. It is eat, drink, and be merry.
Yes.
And that's soca song. Yeah?
Yeah.
You're happy now, right? Monica? You're happy now?
Yeah, happy because the song, I really heard for this year, but I know I can remember that part of the song.
That's all right.
Yeah, honestly.
You have a good memory, Monica. You remembered correctly today. Are you looking forward to December the 25th?
Well, I look forward to it in a sense, but it's a day that I'd be stressed out because Christmas Eve doesn't be my birthday, and it's a day where I'm working. I have to work a lot.
Trust me, a lot of people right now are saying and nodding and agreeing with you. You got to work a lot, stressed out, but you sleep well. Monica, stay on the phone. Don't put down. We'll take some more details from you because you're absolutely right. You are our winner today in our Crumbs Bakery question of the day. The winner today is Monica. She's from Christchurch. We'll take that break here and we're coming back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
17 after 7. I told you at the beginning we're doing 2 calls today. We'll be making 1 call now to one of you to see if you're going to answer your phone correctly to win on our CBC Christmas competition. So let's see if you're going to answer your phone correctly. Now please answer it. Let's go. Let's get on the phone quickly. So when we call you, answer your phone correctly and you become instantly a winner of a prize here with us at the CBC in our Christmas promotion. So let's see. We're hearing the dial tone. Let's see if you answer. Please answer. It's ringing. Answer your phone. Or as we say, answer your phone.
Morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good.
Oh, fantastic. Did you know what you did not do right now? Sir?
What are you going to give me for Christmas?
Oh, really? You want something for Christmas?
Yes.
What do you want for Christmas?
Anything that you can give me.
You sound like Satchmore now. It sounded like Satchmore. Like anything you could give. So if you were to get something for Christmas, what do you think will make your Christmas merrier this year?
Food.
Food?
Ham.
That's ham? Uh-huh.
Yes, if you have any cash to offer.
You really want a ham, don't you? Let me check with my production crew. Do we have a ham for this gentleman? So what do we do? Talk to me straight. Sir, you didn't answer the phone the way we wanted, I'm told. So let's see. Let's see if we get another call. But thanks. I wish you the best for the holidays, indeed. Let's see if we get a caller answering correctly. Come on, come on, come on. We're calling you, and when you call, listen. Answer the phone. You know exactly how to answer now. We've been running this for a little while. If you answer it the way we expect you to, we have something for you. It's a very simple thing. Okay, it's still ringing.
Is not available to take your call.
That person is not available to take the call. That's your fault. That's your loss. But thank you so much for entering the competition indeed. Don't forget, be sure to answer your phone. Be available. You just don't know when or on which day we will call. But when we do, you bet we're calling you. And when we call you, we'd like you to answer your phone the way you know you ought to answer your phone so that you become a winner with the CBC in our Christmas promotion. Let's see.
What are you going to give me for Christmas? Good morning.
You learned it. Good morning to you. How are you doing today, ma'am?
I'm okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm very well, thank you for asking. And what's your first name?
My name is Sanjean.
Sandy?
Sanjean, S-A-N-J-E-A-N.
Y'all, please, y'all in the back, help me a lot. Jump in and help me. Sanjean, congratulations. Thank you so much for answering the phone correctly. Is this the first time you've answered the phone this way?
Yes, please.
So you mean prior to today, you were just simply saying good morning or hello?
I answered the phone this way since the competition was out.
Yeah, I know. But yesterday when your phone rang, did you answer your phone with what you're going to give me for Christmas?
Yes, I did.
Oh, and when the person heard you say that, what did they say to you?
I don't quite recall. I know I recall this morning.
All right, Sanjay. I think you anyway. Stay on the phone, Sanjay. Actually, by the way, someone from our marketing department, Sanjay, will be calling you to make arrangements with you to collect your prize. You've won today. You have won one bar pack ham, compliments of Bryden Stokes. So, Sanjay, congratulations. You got the ham.
Yeah,
Congratulations
well,
indeed. All the best for you, okay?
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Someone from our marketing department will be making contact with Sanjeen. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll start our conversations on CARICOM.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
23 and a half minutes after 7 o'clock, we turn our attention now to the ongoing works of CARICOM. And as you know, every Monday we have our conversations on CARICOM with Ambassador David Comishong, Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM. Good morning to you, Ambassador.
Good morning, Pearson.
Good
Great
to see you.
Christmas morning.
Yes, indeed. 5 days away from December 25th. Are you excited, sir?
Well, I had perhaps the greatest Christmas gift last night and Saturday night at
No, I'm
the
curious.
Golden Square Freedom Park.
What happened?
Stefan Walcott, 1688 Collective,
Wow.
Marlon Ligol, Voice Project, Dance
Wow.
in Africa, choreographed by Aisha Comishong, doing Handel's Caribbean Messiah in Golden Square. You can't get it better than that.
Jeez, I missed it. I feel like beating
It's gonna
myself
be on
right
CBC
now.
TV. It's going to be on CBC TV on
Okay.
Christmas Eve.
Good. So I look to see it for real. I mean, those
Oh,
are some excellent Barbadians in one space. In the Freedom
Yes,
Park, as a matter of
exactly.
fact, showcasing the best of who we are. I'm already excited about this for real. I honestly am. But you know, just recently, Prime Minister Motley had a chance, and as we know, she will sock it to you if she has to sock it to you. She had a chance to address the United Nations as we continue our look at reparations and making some very strident calls on behalf of CARICOM. I'm going to play a little bit of it, her speech, and then right after we'll continue talking. So take a look at this, folks, our Prime Minister's address to the United Nations.
While we await word from our European colleagues in relation to our demands for measures to repair the damage done to our domestic societies and nations, we also want to serve notice that there is an associated and counterpart international dimension to reparatory justice that we are also seeking. More and more, we have come to realize that the world's currently existing international economic and political order has its roots in and grew out of centuries of criminal enslavement of African people, of discrimination and racism, and that it is a system in which the formerly enslaved and colonized nations and people of this world, like those of us in Caribbean and Africa and parts of Asia, have been inserted in a structurally subordinate and exploitative manner. The nations that experience the brunt of those centuries of enslavement and colonial exploitation must therefore set out, collectively I may add, to achieve a reparative restructuring of the international institutions, inclusive of the United Nations Security Council, inclusive of the United Nations, inclusive of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, because all of these institutions were established and formed before many of our nations even had the right to speak for ourselves as independent nations. It is critical that these institutions re-examine their structure and their procedures if we are to give equity and opportunity to those of us that were the victims of being colonially exploited territories at the time of the formation of these institutions. We must also set out to restructure the inequitable terms of international trade and the currently existing equally inequitable mechanisms and rules of international finance and economic governance. And my friends, just as we demand compensation for historical wrongs and for the present-day consequences of those wrongs, we must likewise demand and achieve compensation for the climate injustice that we have been and continue to be subjected to. We should recognize that one of the components of the reparatory justice plan that is owed to us is the sustainable development practices that we insist must be installed and pursued globally. We should insist that the UN SDGs must be concretized in the form of a revitalized global partnership in the spirit of global solidarity and in support of a truly universal and transformative global development agenda. Similarly, the same climate crisis and climate injustice of which I just spoke needs to ensure that a large portion of the money that is available for adaptation going forward will be put for the use of small island developing states.
Telling it as it is, right there to their face. What a powerful speech, what a very poignant messages as well.
Yeah, Pearson, what I want to bring home is that Prime Minister Motley, as the Prime Minister with lead responsibility in CARICOM for reparations, has actually established a new front in CARICOM's reparation campaign. The CARICOM reparation campaign started in 2013, and it was all about the Caribbean nations making a demand of the European powers that engaged in enslavement and colonial domination in the Caribbean for a package of developmental programs to deal with the damage done to our domestic societies. But since Prime Minister Motley has come on the scene, she has also signaled that in addition to that, that there's an international dimension to reparations. And you just heard her outline it there, where she's speaking about reforming the international institutions, reforming the terms of trade that lock countries like the Caribbean into being either producers of raw materials or producers of low technology goods and services. The reform in how, at a global level, finance and economic governance is done. You know, all of this blacklisting, for example, of our countries where we have no say in the institutions that make these decisions to blacklist. So she is targeting all of that. And I think it's important that we understand this, because I have heard some of our people questioning when they see Prime Minister Motley on the international stage, oh, she's just there to show off. Well, no. It's not about showing off. She recognizes that we in countries like Barbados, we can do a lot for ourselves locally, but there's only so much we can do locally. There's also that international dimension that we need to target and to ensure that it is more supportive of us. And that is what she's targeting. So when you see her at COP26, it's not just about taking the international stage to show off. It is about trying to ensure that Barbados gets its share of the $100 billion US per year that developed countries are supposed to put on the table for countries that suffer from the climate crisis like Barbados. When you see her at the IMF, chairing the IMF and World Bank Development Committee, it's not about just being there to show off. It is about being there to convince these countries, these institutions, that, for example, as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic and the plight that small countries like Barbados have had to face, that the IMF should issue a new round of special drawing rights. Now, special drawing rights are assets that the IMF can give to countries to bolster their international reserves. And we were successful in getting the IMF, in response to COVID, to issue 650 billion new special drawing rights in August of this year. As a result of that, Barbados was allocated $90.5 million US in new special drawing rights. That means our foreign exchange was bolstered by $90.5 million US. So this is about her advocacy on the international stage and framing it within the context of reparations, of justice for countries like Barbados that were subjected to centuries of enslavement and colonial exploitation, and that were then inserted in this international system in a very disadvantaged situation. That campaign is all about bringing real benefits and resources to Barbados and other Caribbean countries.
And that's because a lot of these international agencies were formed out of this whole plundering of the islands of the Caribbean as well, and other small island developing states. So naturally, that's the appeal to them, the IMF, the United Nations, and all of these global agencies that have used and leveraged their power to further oppress those of us from the region.
Yeah. You know, when the UN was set up in 1945, Barbados was still a colony. Mm-hmm. Virtually all of the African countries were still colonies. So the big powers of the day, they took control of these institutions and they privileged themselves. So, for example, the UN Security Council, there's no black African or Caribbean nation as a permanent member of that Security Council. The way the IMF and World Bank functions, it is the European powers that dominate, the management and the decision making. The way the OECD functions, the way the European Union Commission functions and blacklisting our countries. We don't even have a seat at the table. So it is all about recognizing that, we are owed fairness and justice, and and she's going about it. And it is central to our developmental program, because yes, we can do so much for ourselves, but we need that supportive international environment. So I'll give you another example. Barbados has been locked out of grant financing and concessional financing by the international institutions, the World Bank and the IMF and so forth, because they have said, well, based on GDP, gross domestic product, we are a middle income country. And so it has meant that the support that we should have been getting from the international environment, we are not getting. And we are targeting that as well. So she is trying to pilot this idea of a universal vulnerability index to replace GDP. And when you have a universal vulnerability index, you look at Barbados and you say, but it's a small island that has come out of a colonial background of being plundered. It exists in the Caribbean. It's on the front line of the climate crisis. It faces hurricanes. It faces all kinds of vulnerabilities. This country is entitled to concessional financing and grant financing. Similarly, when Barbados hosted UNCTAD and put itself in the position to become president of UNCTAD, what Prime Minister Motley and the Barbados government has in mind is using UNCTAD to reshape that international trade and development environment, the same environment that has, because of the international terms of trade, has locked us into this kind of subordinate position of being this locations for low technology goods and services. And so it is about reshaping the international environment so that countries like ours can be treated in a more just, a more supportive manner, and we can get access to the resources we need to build the kind of societies that we are entitled to. We're entitled to societies on par with those of Western Europe in terms of education and healthcare and all of the other amenities. So I just think it's important that Barbadians be aware that this is an important part of our diplomacy, and it has direct implications for our standard of living here on the island, and it comes out of the reparations idea. It is in fact adding a new dimension to the CARICOM reparations campaign.
There's a chipping away of centuries-old block or misunderstanding of who we are as a region, and that is what all part of that effort as well. In order to see the flow of the funding as a consequence of our being repaired, there has to be a chipping away, and they only know what they know. We have to help them understand who we are and to learn who we are so that they can understand and appreciate why we are chipping away at this old block the way that we're chipping away. But the Prime Minister is not just advocating on behalf of Barbados alone, she's advocating on behalf of the CARICOM. And so, I know we've looked at it from time to time, the CARICOM Reparation Manifesto. Where do we go now? There's a chipping, but where do we go now? How do we get this axe to fall even harder so that we begin to crack some of those difficult situations?
Yes, well, another thing that people would have noticed is the Prime Minister investing a lot of time and energy in reaching out to the African continent and building a partnership and trying to build a partnership with Africa. I mean, Barbados has established 2 embassies on the African continent, in Ghana and Kenya. But again, this is part of the reparations strategy as well, because CARICOM has determined that the next phase in our reparations campaign has to be to reach out to Africa, to invite African countries and the AU, the African Union, to come on board with us in this reparations effort. Because, Africa is a continent of 1.3 billion people, some 53, 54 governments and nation states. So Africa has a weight. Africa brings a weight that the Caribbean community cannot bring. I mean, we are much smaller. But if we put the two together, we become so much more dynamic. And so that's the next phase, Pearson, because we recognize that we really have to make this reparations claim into an international cause celeb. We have to tell our story to the world. We have to make the world aware of the centuries of looting and siphoning off of our resources and the great injustice that was done to us. And yes, I think we are a miracle. I mean, we have been able to virtually carry out a miraculous development to bring countries like Barbados to where we are today. But that has been a tribute to the tremendous effort and discipline of the masses of the Barbadian people. But we know that really and truly we should be much more advanced. But unfortunately, for generations, our ancestors, all of the fruits of their labor, they never got to appropriate, they never got to keep. They were all siphoned off to European families and companies and institutions, and ultimately to the capitals of Europe. And so yes, that is what it's all about. Yes. It's not about bitterness or division, but it's about justice. It's about saying, look, these are the facts. Let us create a just and sustainable future. And that's why the Prime Minister once again was stressing the UN Sustainable Development Goals, an end to poverty, an end to hunger, proper health care, proper living standards for the people of the world. And she's saying to Europe and those countries that benefited from those centuries of enslavement and siphoning off of our resources, look, let us come together in a new developmental partnership to create this new world of justice for all of us.
I hope I'm alive when finally the region has been emancipated mentally and we see ourselves to be as strong and equal to anyone else anywhere. Then our true power is shown and seen. Ambassador Comishong, we got to leave it there. I see you smile because I know you want to add to that.
I was just going to say that what we saw last night at Golden Square,
yes,
that Handers Caribbean Messiah featuring the music of Barbados and Jamaica and Trinidad and Cuba and Haiti, the salsa, and that was our Caribbean civilization, its power and its beauty on display. So just fitting in with your closing point and tying it to how we celebrate our Christmas season, exploring our beauty as a Caribbean civilization.
Oh boy, I can't wait for that. I want to be around for that. Thank you so much, Ambassador Comishong, as always, for joining us and citing us while you're educating us about what's happening in CARICOM and reminding us of each of us we need to play our part by either lending support or adding our voice in a very significant way as well towards the change we want to see. Thank you, Ambassador.
My pleasure, Pearson.
There we go. Morning Barbados will continue right after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
60 minutes now to go to 8 o'clock. Our next guest is truly an outstanding Barbadian woman. Her name is Sheena Rose, a visual artist. Good morning to you, Sheena.
Good morning, Pearson.
How are you doing?
I am pretty good.
Good.
I am just relaxing.
Listen, as we bitches will say, you boat here?
Yes, I boat here. You
All right,
hear the
good.
accent?
That's fantastic. Listen, you have just or recently been awarded and commissioned to do some great work in the United States. Let's celebrate that. What is it that you've been commissioned to do?
Well, it was in 2019 that I did the Inter-American Development Bank mural. And what happened? Sorry, my screen distracted me.
That's all right.
Sorry. I trying to blank it out.
I'm with you. I'm with you, though. Don't worry. Talk to me. Just talk to me.
Okay, let me blank out the screen there or something. Right, so what happened when I did the Inter-American Development Bank? I did a mural that was 2-story high in headquarters in Washington, D.C. And then from there, I did the U.S. Art Museum. So the Moy Public Art Foundation heard about me, invited me to be part of this panel, this somewhat competition, and create 7 bus shelters, Sorry, this thing distracted me. I know you're on TV, but it
Don't
distracted
look. Don't look. You just talk to me. I'm hearing you, and I'm sure you're hearing me. Let's pretend we're on the phone. And if you're pretending you're on the phone, then you don't see who you're talking to. You just listen to the voice, and you talk as we try to work that out technically backstage to find out a little bit more about Sheena. But Sheena is brilliant. She has her own company, and she has just, as she's beginning to tell us, been commissioned to do some great work in the United States. And art installation is what she is about. She is a multi-video, multimedia thing. She's also a Fulbright scholar, and she holds quite a degree in studio art. She is brilliant. And in her brilliance, she is representing us brilliantly in the United States as well. She's been featured in many areas of the media, and in doing so, including magazines. Can you imagine just being called on in the United States to install some great art in some huge places, and then getting the calls from different media to talk about your work? Little old Barbados. You know, you must in yourself feel very, 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 very proud. And so Sheena Rose is one of those with whom we also feel quite proud, and we can't wait to feature her in just a moment. So Sheena is going to be back with us in just a bit to talk about her journey. But in celebrating who she is, she feels very proud about who she is as an artist, as a woman, as a lupus warrior as well. So let's see now. Sheena, are you back with me?
Hi, Pearson. This is so much better.
Good. It's a phone call. Look at it that way, okay? Don't get caught up in nothing else. It's a phone call. So Sheena, you were telling me about now this successful recognition that you've had.
Right. So I'm gonna cut off that little beginning part and start with the bus shelters.
Yes.
So the Moy Public Art Foundation heard about me. And what happened? They emailed me and say, hey, we have this project that we've been collecting funds for. And we are looking at 3 artists, and 1 artist will win. You have to create a brief, and what happened, the brief will be about Iowa and this one particular street called 6th Avenue. What I did is I started doing some research. I started reading about Iowa. I started going to Wikipedia. I started finding out about they were the most financial state in the States in 2015. I started to look at how they want to build a good reputation and welcome all kinds of people to their state. So I decided to work on these 7 canvas, did some paintings to reflect, and hopefully that the people that go on the bus could somewhat interact with the pieces by smiling or feel like they could relate when they see these beautiful, colorful bus shelters, these designs. So I presented myself to the committee, and I explained about how I am from the Caribbean, from Barbados. It's so vibrant out here, but I don't want you to be fooled by the stereotype also of the beaches and sand. we have more in depth, and also with Iowa, there's depth, and we want to welcome people and make them feel comfortable and feel like they're relatable or could relate to Iowa. So I won. That was in 2020, early 2020. The pandemic happened, and then it slowed down the process. So while that was happening, they were building the bus shelters. We were doing the fabrication, and now finally they are being installed. So there will be an opening next year in spring.
This is some of the work that you've been able to do. This is beautiful. And
Thank you.
describe what the message is in this piece here.
Can you? I can't see it.
Oh, okay. Because I'm seeing people, and I'm seeing some shapes. Almost, you know how you say, okay. What
I can see it now.
You can see it now.
I can see it now. The bus shelters. So with this bus shelter, what happened? I wanted it to feel as though the viewers or the person that's going to catch the bus would be like part of the crowd. So I was looking at diversity. I was looking at people walking through the city, and then also like the colors. Each color is like color coded. So orange, I believe, have meant the people. Blue meant condition. Green meant greenery and garden. So it's very abstract. And also between white, you will see a bit of the city. So I wanted to like combine Iowa and the people that coming in and out and also that live there into one.
I'm so excited for you and the work that you're doing over there. Now you become this international woman. Listen, in 2019, you created a 2-story mural at the Inter-American Development Bank headquarters. Talk to me about that.
That was something else. That was my first mural. Earlier in January in 2019, again, I received this email that they wanted me to do this mural. And what happened behind the scenes, I was at home working on sketches on canvases. And because of the Inter-American Development Bank experience, it also helped the bus shelters, meaning that I did my research, find out that the Inter-American Development Bank worked with the Caribbean and Latin America. So I read about, let's say, almost all the countries, and then I inserted them into the piece. But then the colors again are color coded. So red was anger and passion. Blue mean the Barbadian Sea. The dark blue mean the reality of us. The green mean finances and greenery and the landscape. Yellow meant transition, and the list go on. So I mash up and merge different countries as like Suriname, and then Latin American countries like Panama, and Guyana, and Barbados, and Trinidad. And then on the top of the mural, there's people walking through Bridgetown. So the concept is about me trying to see if we, the Caribbean and Latin America, could somewhat come together physically somehow. So that's my imagination, thinking about the future of us.
So I can see some paint on your hands. What were you just doing?
Let me tell you, Pearson, I just had a solo show in New York and in Miami or Basel. People are going crazy. So I be up early in the morning, painting, doing commissions. I prepare for more shows next year. People going bonkers.
I like it. They're going bonkers. I love it. But you love that too. You love the fact that they are going bonkers.
I am, because finally I can see money that why wearing green.
You live it, you love it, and so shall it be. I love this. But you know, part of your story, part of your journey of life is that you are a lupus warrior. I like that. How has that condition helped you or conditioned you into being who you are today?
Well, the thing is like right now, I'm clearing my throat. And I know because of COVID time, they'll say, oh, she got COVID. No, actually, that's lupus that keep attacking my body somewhere. So like this morning, I had hives. I had to take allergy tablets. Every day is a battle. Every day is a small battle or a big battle. It just attack. Just for those who don't know what's lupus, lupus is an autoimmune disease that just attack any part of the body. So it could attack my brain, it could attack even my fingers from head to toe. So I have to constantly, every day for the rest of my life, take steroids and probably some allergy tablets. But what I've been doing is publicly let people know and be aware of this, because it used to like distort my face. It used to swell up my mouth, it used to swell up my eyes, any part. So I wanted to show people or educate people what I go through. So with this new experience or this new diagnosis, I try to put it into my work and try to explain my gender, my race, my sexuality, but also I don't want to say my sickness, so let's say diagnosed. So it been, in a weird way, it's like a curse and a blessing at the same time, because you're being sick, but the concept is also feeding into the work. So that's us artists. We like to share our experiences, you know?
Yeah, you like to show off, girl. You're right. Listen, I want to show folks, we want folks to take a look at what you did with the Inter-American Development Bank to get a sense of this mural of which you spoke. Look at this. A real clash of cultures and colors, and it creates a conversation space as well. This is all the work of Sheena Rose. That's who she is, Sheena Rose. And that's her work, and the installation there at the Inter-American Development Bank. Now, I got word that Venus Williams owns a piece of your art.
Yes, Venus Williams actually mentioned me last year in 2020 as a legend. And that was a huge compliment, because she was a guest editor for a magazine called Hospitality and Design. And she featured up to, I believe, 4 to 6 creators. And in her editorial note, she said, I bring these artists, or I highlight these creators, because I see them as legends. So when it was my article, I mentioned about my lupus, I mentioned about being a businesswoman in Barbados and how I'm dealing with handling the pandemic. So it's been an honor to be recognized, or as she said, a legend. So that's a lot, you know, but to me, I feel like, look, I in a bedroom trying to hustle, so I don't know what kind of legend that is. But
Sheena Rose, you're getting such support from our online viewers this morning. They're really proud of you, and they're commenting about it as well. So I really want to thank you. I wish we had more time, because there's so much more about you that we can joyfully enjoy this morning. So, pardon me?
We could come back on, you know? We could come back on. It was just on a level.
Well, we can do that. That's all right. That is my great. Sheena Rose, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Look out for a call from us. We'll have you back soon, okay?
Thank you so much, Pearson. You
You're
have
welcome.
a good day.
You do too. Isn't she excellence in one little body? Sheena Rose is her name. We're going to take a quick break, and then we come back. We're making one more call before we go.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Let's do this very quickly. To be a winner, you need to answer your phone right now. We're calling you on our Christmas promotion, Christmas competition, a chance for you to answer and be a winner with us at CBC this morning. We're 5 days away from Christmas Day. So let's see if we get someone on the phone quickly in our Christmas giveaway. Answer the phone when it calls, when it rings in your area. So let's see who we get on the phone quickly. Come on, folks. It's ringing.
Where you gonna get me for Christmas?
I ain't got nothing for you this Christmas. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you for answering your phone the way we love to hear it answered right now. What's your first name?
Yulene.
Hi, Yulene. Yulene, congratulations to you. You are a winner with us and the CBC today. What did Yulene win? Tell me quickly, folks.
Lord, I'm so lucky.
Yulene, you've won a gift basket. Compliments of Bryden's Stokes. Okay, Yulene?
Yes, please.
You're going to have a Merry Christmas, Yulene. Someone from our marketing department will be calling you and they'll make arrangements with you to get your gift basket. Compliments of Bryden Stokes. Congratulations, okay?
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Yulene is staff at CBC.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Thank you
right.
very
Bye.
much, Yulene.
Have a
Blessings
nice
to you
day.
indeed. Thank you very much. All right, folks, that's it for today. Thank you all for being with us today. A big thank you to my producer, Nadia Foster, Alicia Alves Grant, Roel Ford, our technical director. At Sound is Philip Hines. Master Control is Tamisha Green. We do look forward to seeing you again, if it be God's will, tomorrow. Take care then now. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.